Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. So you want to meet him, and so you're going to have a meeting. And the meeting, I'm telling you, the meat of the meeting, and you have scripts for this as well, the meat of the meeting doesn't take more than 2 minutes. If you've got a lot of shit in your mouth, 3 minutes. Because all you're there is, and all you want them to say on the other side of when you're done with your spiel is, if I can add, sounds great, it's a great opportunity. If I can add value, I'm really interested. If they bring up shares, the meeting's over. If they bring up compensation, the meeting's over. If they bring up expenses, the meeting's over. And you won't end the meeting. You're just not going to do it. I say it 5 or 6 more times during the seminar because their head's not in the right spot. They don't have the same enthusiasm that you have. But for this example, they say, yeah. You will have already sent them your executive summary before you get there, 4, 5, 6 days before, with the mission statement, executive summary, which you have examples in gigs. And then they say, yes, if I can add value. And then Dr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, Ms. So-and-so, would you like me to use the picture in LinkedIn as your profile picture? Oh, no, I have a better one. Or is the profile within LinkedIn acceptable for us to use in communication with finance, et cetera, et cetera. And normally they'll say the LinkedIn is fine for a profile. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say it's not and they'll give you a profile, or they'll send your assistant that you don't have a profile. Okay. Not many of you are organized enough in this room to juggle all these balls without an assistant. A couple of you have assistants. I'm not a proponent of virtual assistants, but I know that's the flavor of the day now. I'm not a proponent, but because and I know they have these programs and apps and shit that keep you organized and all that, but you're still not organized. So, but somebody, in some cases, if your wives or significant others, whatever, are really supportive, they're your virtual assistant, except they're not virtual, they're there. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the first time that you miss Valentine's Day, that's the end of your assistance and support. Period. First time you miss her birthday, period. First time you missed a soccer game for your kid or whatever the fuck, end. And I got a list of 26,000 of how they end. I don't have a list of one, but one, how they start. And they say, they're supportive, but the supportive and what I don't want you to ask, but in your own mind ask, what's their pay price to action? How much are they really willing to sacrifice to be on my bus with me? And words are cheap. Action. But you'll figure this out, I won't say within a few hours, a few days, but a few weeks, you'll figure it out for yourself. You'll figure it out for yourself. And then you just got to push through it. Whatever, you're going to hear Roberto, the guy that turned his seminar fee into $70 million in 7 months. He's going to just say, you just keep running towards all the obstacles no matter what. It's like, O.J. Simpson back when he was the greatest running back in professional football. You're almost knocked down, but you're not knocked down. You just keep going forward. And and so now you've got a chairman, or a chairperson as they call it now. And when they suggest that they can find you guys on the board, you say, thank you very much, I appreciate that, but this is going to be my board. And I want them to be beholden to me. But thank you, I appreciate the offer. You heard like a meathead said, Gabriel. And sometimes they get pushy. And sometimes the relationship ends right there. Now, most of you that come from the corporate world are so used to sucking ass, it'll be very hard, next to impossible, for you to end the relationship right there. Because brown nosing is built into the corporate world now. Sucking ass, kissing ass. Okay, so you're either leaving the corporate world because you don't want to do that anymore, but you'll get plenty of opportunity to show that you're sincere about not kissing ass anymore. Because there's nothing about this program that's got even remotely close to kissing ass. Most of your careers have been based on tacit approval, or more importantly, not disapproving. You're in a meeting this size, and I'm the CEO, and you're all regional managers, and I say bullshit, and you'll get an email following up what your marching orders are, etc. Then you break off into your little things. You go back to Dallas, you go back to Atlanta, you go back to New York, whatever. And on the plane, you're sitting there having drinks, probably not flying first class anymore, flying in the coach. And one of you will say, the old man said such and such. Probably the senior of the 4 or 5 of you that are sitting together. And the other 4 guys know that's not what the old man said. But they're thinking, well, I'll wait till the email comes out, and then I'll be able to show Joe that that's not what the old man said. But most of you will just nod your head or be quiet, giving tacit approval. Wrongfully giving tacit approval. And by the time you get back to the people, your reports, the people that report up to you, the thing that you're telling what's going to happen in the email that's coming down from headquarters, HQ, is wrong. So they get started. And once the kids, your reports get started, it's difficult for them to change. And the email, 1, may not come. 2, he's had more time to think about it. So he's recrafted, he's wordsmithed, not to be as harsh. And that's how we run corporate America now. That's it. That's how the world is run now on the corporate level. So you want these guys and gals that are on the board, and how many is too many? I like more. You heard Gabriel say Mr. Peña likes more. I like more. I like 7, 8, 9 board members. Because right now you got 100% of fuck all. And I know better than you're going to have opportunity to buy them back when they fuck up. You just will. And we're going to talk about the different option plans the last day. And he's right. I don't like vesting shit. I don't like that. Okay, I won't be involved with that. But everything that comes out of your corporate lawyers and your corporate accountants is major shareholder friendly. Major shareholder friendly. And then you're in the driver's seat or whatever the terminology is. Now, some big law firms, white shoe firms, won't do that. They'll send you an email, a letter, recent Delaware law, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then you email back, well, this is the way I want it done. If you're telling me you can't do it that way, then I'll have to move on to another law firm. But it took you 82 zillion hours to find that cocksucker, so you're not going to write that email. And you're going to go along with whatever they push down your throat. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what exactly do you mean with major shareholder friendly? I actually don't remember that. So,
say that again.
What exactly do you mean that the accountants and lawyers, they have to send this line of major shareholder friendly?
Oh, major shareholder friendly means, let's say we're all shareholders. No, let's use a real live example. Zuckerberg. Everything that's been ever written for, it's called Meta now, or whatever they call Facebook now, has been written for major shareholder friendly. So he can't be thrown out. He can't be anything. And that's what you want. You want to be treated on a major shareholder friendly basis. And to the extent that I join boards, which I don't do now, is it was the founder, you, and me were treated the same. Pari passu, as the Latin used to say, or the major shareholder friendly. So they couldn't do to me anything that they couldn't do to you, but all the other directors are shareholder, not major shareholder friendly. And once in a while, other director says, "Well, fuck, I've got all the experience." And I said, "Well, I guess this isn't a fit for you." Now, there's nice ways to say that. I said, "Get the fuck out." So I never did that. And if you're in Texas and a few places around the world, there's still people that I crushed out of life out of them. I mean, corporately. There's still guys around. They're all running big firms now, but I was like this when I was young. And if you don't tell them to write major shareholder friendly, like Gabriel, I mean, did not, the last few years, everybody, I've been saying this, but the right words are, and maybe 20 years ago I didn't say it this way, you want it to be impossible, short of malfeasance and fraud, for you to be thrown out. There are certain things you can be thrown out for. But malfeasance and fraud. And of course, in certain countries, I see the guy from Mexico who's not going to do this in Mexico. I mean, I'm sure, who's the pretend Mexican, the rich guy? Pardon? Yeah. Slim, who's not Mexican. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure every document that has ever been signed in any of his companies is major shareholder friendly. Or he's put his daughter, his son-in-law, or somebody in there where it's major shareholder friendly. And it works. I.e. Zuckerberg's still there, and he's, whether he did a good job or he didn't do a good job, he can't be gotten rid of. Clayton Ford is running Ford. Whether he did a good job or didn't do a good job, he's there. And there's a bunch of companies like that. Okay, so now, did your hand up? Yeah.
Yeah, just what kind of time commitment? What are these chairs?
Oh, we haven't got to that yet. Okay. When I go through the whole board, and then one of the questions that somebody in that board is going to ask is, I'll answer it now. What is my time commitment? And European, I'll put it another way, non-U.S. boards are more particular about time commitments. Okay. What can I expect? After he says, I really like this, how can I add value? And just as an aside, what kind of time commitment we're looking at. And this is the truth. It should be, in the beginning, no more than 5 hours a week. In the beginning. Because you're not looking at deals. And those first weeks, you're looking for advice and you don't tell them this, tender loving care. Holding your hand, when you don't know what to say or do. And some guys, every board has at least one guy who likes to kick the tires, likes to go out there and get in the trenches and duke it out, and you cherish those guys or gals. And it's normally a guy, he's tired, he can only bounce his grandkids so much on his knee, he can't play tennis anymore, he got tennis elbow, and he can't play golf anymore because he's got golfer's elbow on the other arm. So he wants to get out of the house. Now, there's a fine line here because you're not paying for him to get out of the house. You got to make that fucking crystal fucking clear. They're operating on their own dime, their own peso, their own shekel. But, some of the kids have got board members that are, I wish, now my guys were sedentary back in the day. But I was an energetic fucking young kid. I mean, I ran around like, the movie The Flash. That was me, okay? But I never had a board meeting where I didn't have 100% board participation, where they didn't come, that was in Las Vegas or Amsterdam. Not one single, and I had a lot of board meetings there, not in Vegas, Amsterdam, because we were public on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. So the old farts would, rest up to go to Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a lot of fun. So is Vegas. But the stuff they do illegally in Vegas, where, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, is legal in Amsterdam, and it's not legal in Las Vegas, although they do it. So another thing that they may ask, not just the chairman but the rest of the board, and it's in the script. In due course, in Britain, Europe, that means between now and never, in due course, we'll follow up with the appropriate paperwork. You do not differentiate what that paperwork is. You will follow up with the appropriate paperwork. That means articles of incorporation, all the horse shit that you put a company together. And they don't know what that means. Another thing is the board members will know that every deal that you're going to look at is not going to come to fruition. They're going to know all that. And so one of the things that you heard Gabriel say, he says, you got to use them. And they'll expect stupid questions. But it's hard for you to get it out of your mouth. For those of you that come up the corporate world, stupid questions end careers. And you know it. Sometimes some of the grandfatherly type guys on the board, or grandmotherly types, is there anything, that you need some comfort on? I don't even know how to ask the question because I never asked this of anybody. You need any help someplace? Nobody ever asked me, how are you, Dan? In my 53-year career. Nobody's ever asked me. You okay, Dan? In 53 fucking years. But you see it on all these fucking movies and in your personal lives. Nobody gives a shit how you are. That's all horse shit. And another thing they don't want to hear is I'm working on it. I never heard Steve Jobs say, when I had the pleasure of working at Apple, I'm working on it. You'd be laughed out of the fucking building. You're expected to have the answers. So now the chairman is lock and loaded. And not in the first meeting. Now, if he invites you to his club for this first meeting, you're not paying. And get this, we do not buy dinners or lunches or breakfasts. Under no circumstance do you buy a motherfucking meal for anybody. One, you're all dead broke. That's for starters. And they're not used to going to Chipotle. Is that a place? Chipotle for lunch. So don't embarrass yourself. But if they invite you to their club, they're paying. They're paying. And rarely, once in a while, if you have the alumni card to play, in other words, you went to the same school, they may invite, why don't you join me for dinner? That happens once. 1 out of 25 times that happens. But if they do that, they like what they read. Oh, by the way, I looked at many of your Facebooks. I would close all your Facebooks down. They're embarrassment. 100% of you. They're an embarrassment. Just close it down. And for those of you that had pictures like that, I don't know, were you on drugs or what's wrong with you? It's not fucking funny. Just close them down. We'll get to social media later in the week. But basically, you don't need it. But that's a whole other story. And you don't need a website. And you don't need business cards. Which is contrary to, not everything, but a lot of what you've been taught. And in Japan, if you don't have a business card, it's like committing hara-kiri. I mean, it's typical, like you might as well kill yourself. But I got mine. I did business with the Japanese government. It was a little rough in the beginning, but then I hired, after the first couple meetings in America, I hired the guy that went to prep school with the current, he's now current, whatever the head of the Japanese emperor. I hired him as a consultant. because they told my guys, Mr. Peña is a little rough for Ito-san and Wada-san. Ito and Wada, who were the chairman and the president of Japanese National Oil Company, JAPEX. You couldn't even say JAPEX in Texas back in those days. But when 10,000 energy companies went out of business, we had all the money we could drill with. And I still remember Bobby Kerr saying, fucking Japs, what are you taking those cocksuckers' money? We should have dropped 5 bombs on them, not just 2. I still remember Bobby saying that. And then the first time we took a Japanese oil executive to the Houston Petroleum Club, it was like something out of a movie. Everybody stopped walking. Everybody stopped talking. People, like you see these things when they're frozen in suspended animation. Same thing happened at Dallas Petroleum Club. But we had all the fucking money that you could spend. Now, so now you've, and he looks at the executive summary, and he may ask some questions, but I used to, and some of the kids do, is I would call his assistant, or I'd have my assistant, or one of my assistants, call his assistant to make sure that he read the fucking thing. And depending how lovable you can be on the phone, I didn't fall into that category. Could you maybe put it on his desk? In the old days, in the inbox, they don't have inboxes now, And then when I left the meeting, wherever it was, I could tell whether he read the fucking thing. And then I'd send flowers. Oh, I didn't send anything, but somebody in my organization would send flowers or give candy to his receptionist. Now, the time that we get these guys and gals is just short of retirement, the best time. The big firms, still many of the big firms, give you 6 to 18 months to get your shit in order when you leave American Express or whoever, British Petroleum, Shell Oil. They give you some time to feather your nest, meaning get outside directorships. Because a big company like BP pays you $250,000, or actually 250,000 pounds. Okay, and so they'll, so he'll feather his nest, and it's all right for him to be chairman of more than one thing. And so and some of the big companies allow you to have an office, some in perpetuity, and some 6 or 12 or 36 months you can have an office at BP or Shell or Bank of America, even after you're gone. So that receptionist that you sent flowers to, may still be with the old fucker for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay. Are we done, Kat? Okay, we're done. Go fuck yourself, YouTube.